Life seems more challenging than ever these days. A lot of times we either feel alone in our struggles or like we just should be able to handle it. But neither of those things are necessarily true. Getting counseling is a good way to get some support when you're going through some of life's struggles. And counseling is not the same as talking to friends and family. Hi, my name is Lacey and I work as a mental health counselor. Today we're going to be talking about signs that it might be time to talk to a counselor. But first we'll talk about what counseling is. Counseling is a formal way of helping, and it's not so much about solving a person's problems, but helping them to manage them effectively. Counseling is a team effort. It helps to create awareness for the person so that the person can see new possibilities that maybe they didn't see before. It's typically short term, lasting a few weeks to a few months, though it can last longer depending on the person's circumstances. Knowing when to get counseling isn't always obvious. Many people might have a gut feeling that they might need to talk to someone, but they often ignore it as long as they can. And then others take steps pretty easily to getting counseling, and they actually enjoy it. Sometimes you might feel motivated to get counseling on your own, or you might be encouraged by family and friends to get counseling. There is good news that we do talk about mental health way more now than we ever have before. Seeking counseling is more accepted. But even though that's the case, some people still hesitate to go, even if they're really struggling. Now we'll talk about a few signs that it might be time to seek counseling. I have about 13 signs. And so the first one is you notice you're more irritable or you're easily agitated by people or situations. Your patience runs thin pretty easy. Number 2, you notice you have more anxiety and that you struggle to relax during your downtime. Number 3, you notice you're constantly worried about something and you might even have racing thoughts. Number 4, you find yourself talking to anyone who will listen to your problems. That could be a friend or a family member. But when you leave these conversations, you notice that you don't feel much better or you don't feel any closer to a solution. Number 5, you feel depressed most of the day or most of the week, and you notice that you can't shake it. Number 6, you're not eating well or sleeping well. Number 7, you start to turn down invitations that normally you would have jumped on, and you find that you're wanting to spend more time alone. Number 8, you might have a ton of coping skills, but you're not using any of them because you feel kind of trapped in the struggle. Number 9, maybe you notice that your use of substance is increasing. An occasional drink turns into an every night thing. Number 10, you're fighting with your spouse, partner, family, friends, more. Number 11, you're having intrusive or harsh thoughts towards yourself or others. And these could include thoughts of harming yourself or others. Number 12, you're entertaining the thought of getting counseling. And number 13, you have family and friends who are telling you that you might benefit from counseling. So if you notice any of these signs, it doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It might just mean you're in a transitional period and maybe you're having trouble sorting through or processing what you're experiencing and how to move forward. So how exactly can counseling be beneficial? The first thing is you get to talk, and don't underestimate the power of verbalizing what you're experiencing. A lot of times when we're stressed and we're going through a hard phase in life, when you can verbalize your thoughts, feelings, and what your experience is like for you, it gives your brain a chance to process and refile everything into a more organized way. And hearing yourself talk, hearing yourself share the story, sometimes you might have thoughts like, wait, that isn't right, or I don't necessarily know if that's true for me anymore, or wow, I wasn't even aware that I felt that way. So it's an interesting process to to be given space to fully express what your experience is like. Talking to a counselor is different than talking to family or a friend, because a counselor is going to actively and empathetically listen to you. And the purpose of that is to sort of step into your world and to really kind of gain a deeper understanding of what your experience is. And though family and friends really want to support you and be there for you, sometimes they offer sympathy, which is feelings of sorrow for another person's experience. And sometimes that can lead the person to feeling feeling pitied. Sometimes family and friends also kind of want to save you from your problems. And so instead of trying to deeply understand what you're going through, they might just want to offer solutions. And so when they're giving solution after solution, after a while it kind of feels like the more solutions that are given, the less helpful it feels. So empathy is sort of being in the client's world as much as we can, and sympathy is kind of standing outside of the other person's world and kind of comfortably detached from it. Another helpful thing about counseling is normalizing. I had mentioned earlier that a lot of times we tell ourselves, I shouldn't be feeling the way I'm feeling, or I should be able to handle this. And the question that comes to my mind is, how do you know that? What is leading you to believe that you should be able to handle this, or you shouldn't feel the way you feel? What I notice most of the time is when a person is kind of saying that to themselves, they are usually in a situation that they have never in their life been in before. So my thoughts go to, how could you possibly know how you were gonna feel about this? And if you've never been through this before, how could you possibly know exactly the right way to handle it? When you place those kinds of expectations on yourself, it usually makes matters worse. The truth is, you are not alone. There are people out there who want to help. And if you're someone who doesn't want to burden someone else with their problems, counselors and therapists go to school to learn how to be burdened. And if you are someone that dismisses your feelings, the bad news about that is feelings rarely stay gone. They usually resurface. And a lot of times, the harder you push them down, the harder they will come back up. We often cannot predict how we're going to feel. And so if you find yourself in a place where you are judging or questioning what it is you're feeling, getting counseling by someone who can support you and normalize your experience can be a big relief. It's not always easy to know when exactly you need counseling, and today I shared some signs that may help you. Being able to recognize some of these signs may make it easier to take the next step and actually call someone. And it doesn't necessarily mean anything is wrong with you. It might just mean you're in a transitional period, or a big life event has happened and you're just having trouble navigating it. So a counselor can hold a different kind of space for you by listening actively and empathetically. And a lot of times that leads you to finding your own solutions to your own problems, because it also gives you the space to see your problem from a different vantage point and see possibilities that you didn't see before. So I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you for watching.